This video is our presentation at Good Times Restaurants. Good Times is NASDAQ Capital Market stock, trading under ticker GTIM. It's a little bit of a lower volume play. I did take a look at it. They have a minuscule amount of outstanding shares. Helps explain the low volume. But recently it did explode. See, volume traded over 2 million shares one day, up around 2 million another day. I believe this got some mentions on CNBC, some other big financial shows like that. That's what helped generate all this volume. But clearly just a big move from down around $1 up to almost $6. Right now it's pulled back about halfway, just filled the gap. So while right off this seems to have a lot of fundamental components to it, I still want to take a look at the stock chart. Obviously we're going to see these indicators just making a huge move, going back into a retrace mode. ADX up near 60, a lot of strength to the direction. But again, that's very high. I always look for a pullback at that point. Of course, that's what's going on. 7 MFI, 14 and 21, just haven't been able to catch up with the buying pressure yet. 7's a lot more volatile. Obviously, it's nosedived. And normally with a big separation like that, I'd be looking for the 7 to spring back upward. But with this lower volume, unless there's a big buying day or such, it's going to be more likely that this 14 and 21 are going to make their way back down to it faster. That 7's going to come snapping back upward. Accumulation distribution, of course, just diving. Jake and money flow in the red, showing that selling pressure is outweighing buying pressure. But it is starting to make its way back towards zero a little bit. And actually holding pretty close to zero right now, only registering a negative 169. It's really not in too bad of a position there. CCI, always like pointing this out. The break above and break below 100 are buy and sell points. Full stow in a pretty nice upward channel. Tricks, of course, it's going to have to retrace the lagging indicator. I'll be interested to see if this RSI, these two long terms, red and gold, that's the 14 and 21 RSI. I'd be interested to see if they can hold over top of 50 and keep the bullish momentum in the play. But ultimately, as with basically any chart, it does come down to the candles. And something that I think is interesting with this chart, it's at a Fibonacci retracement area, and the gap that was left open right through here is now filled. So now I'd be watching for some upward pressure to potentially come in. It's also still holding over top of the 20-day moving average, which is this purple line at 266. That's the middle of the Bollinger Bands. You always want to see a price per share hold the upper half of the Bollinger Bands. It's a much more bullish position. This chart doesn't get a great deal of static support because of the big move until really it starts coming back down around this area, around $2.20. And it's actually even stronger back down around $1.85. But in case this can't slow the roll and it wants to keep dropping, I'd look for some support to come in right around $2.20. This movement and this retracement is what I'd consider a flag pattern, that being the flag pole. It's just a classic retracement. Stock makes a move like that, there's going to be some selling pressure that comes in as profit taking happens. And now what I'd be looking for, initially, this little bit of support right around this area I'd want to see hold. And then to the upside, there's still not a lot of resistance in the way. A little bit comes in right there around 375, and it'll meet a little bit more around 450. And of course, you're talking top end around $6. Volume is pretty much drying up, only 57,000 shares traded. Now what I'd be looking for, increase in volume, establish a support level, start to take on some upward pressure. And a lot of momentum traders, they'll use this pink line, the 10-day moving average, as a buy and sell point. Breaking back down through it after the big move would be the sell. And if this can gather some momentum again, start moving upward, the buy point would be the break back through that moving average. Oh, and although it's an interesting chart, good example of a flag pattern, we spend a lot of our time looking at bottom plays. But I thought we'd start this week out with the chart that made a strong move in April, forming a bullish flag, and now I'd have my eyes peeled for some continuation. Those are the type of things that I'd be looking for in the GTIM chart. But as always, it's merely my interpretation. Thank you for watching, and trade smart.